morning, armor down. Hope you slept well. I am tired today, so I'm going to close my eyes a little bit just to kind of rest. So yesterday talked about armor and how it relates to my dog. And today I want to talk about armor and how it relates to my brother. So my brother, Edward White King, was born in 87. He was born in November. He and I were good buddies. In a freak drowning accident, he passed away. And from that moment, I built I didn't do this consciously, but I was 10 and he was 2, and it was a really, really difficult time. And I see in my memories of it, I see myself by myself. So I know my parents were really struggling because it was a really complex, really difficult time, and so they were surviving in their own way, and I was surviving in mine. And so I was by myself, and I remember the number one thing that really kind of stood out for me was I was angry at God. I was very, 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 very angry. And so I think what I did in terms of armor was I created a kind of a barrier to all the feelings around that experience. And I walled off the root of the experience, and I rode the wave of I rode the wave of anger from that moment through the rest of my life. And then, as I became more aware of the anger, I addressed the anger. I gave the anger a purpose, and I understood the experience, the story, as this was part of God's plan for me. And I have kind of put it to bed, right? So it's like, so there's this unbelievable trauma. There's a 10-year-old trying to navigate it. There's an anger that is it's like a nuclear reactor, right? So everything that comes out of the nuclear reactor is anger. I rode the anger my whole life. Part of what riding the anger did was keep me always 1 foot in, 1 foot out. And that's what I was talking about with the dog yesterday. It's one foot in, 1 foot out, because I never want to be caught flat-footed again with that level of sadness. And so what I'm understanding, but not quite sure what to do about, is that I've got this kind of armored up core, and I've addressed everything around the core. I've addressed the anger, I've addressed the 1 step in, 1 step out, but I haven't addressed the sadness. I haven't addressed the hurt. I haven't addressed. I've just given it all story. I've given it story, and I've given it meaning, but I haven't addressed it. And so the armor is now an avoidance. And it's not just an avoidance, it's a story where the avoidance is not avoidance because I'm afraid. It's avoidance because I feel like I've taken care of it. But it's still showing up, obviously, because the dog. I mean, it's like it's like I can't get past this piece without addressing this root. And so I'm going back to that root, and I don't really know what to do other than to start kind of chipping at it and just seeing what's under there, because it's been 30 years. Man, it's been 30 years since that moment. And I have these memories of the moment, and they're the same memories of the moment that I've, accessed and interacted with for most of my life. But all I remember is that anger. And so I'm going to start to chip away at the armor. The things that I want to kind of pull out of this are, the avoidance element, I'll deal with this, or no, that I'll deal with this by not dealing with it, and I'll not deal with it by kind of using it as the kind of the first wave that kind of got the ball rolling. I'll even give it meaning by not dealing with it. I'll give it a sense of, I'll give it a purpose, but I won't give the, I'll give the off gassing, right? I'll give the energy that comes out of it purpose, but I won't address the root of it. And another piece is I don't feel it. Like intellectually, I know I have to go there, but I don't feel it. I don't notice it. This feels very appropriate because there's this sense of it's there, but I don't feel like it's there, so I'm just going to act like it's not there. But I'm using the energy from it to live my life. So this energy is coming from somewhere, and I'm using the energy and giving the energy all this value and purpose and story, but I'm not addressing where the energy comes from. And so those are the things I want to take from this to keep kind of pushing this exploration forward. So I'll stop there for today. Let me see if I can even find, I don't feel like putting my eyes open. First thing I feel is uncomfortable in my sense of touch. My ground is really uncomfortable in my rear end, so I'll fix that. Oh, that's nice. All right, I feel the comfort there. So now I'll go into sound, space heater, back right. That's the dominating sense right there. Light and shadow. Not much there. Quiet. Just real quiet. You can feel a sense of touch. You can feel my left and right forearms touching the fabric of my sweater. Yawn, squeezing my face, that triggered taste awareness in my mouth. It's got that empty, clean feeling. There's a little bit of a taste in the back of my throat. It's got like a snotty kind of taste. The song Blinded by the light, cut up like a. That just popped up in the back left of my head. Just kind of pushing my attention out, noticing outside myself. There's sound of the flagpole. Bell 2. Ground feels good. Feet are comfortably folded. Shins are comfortably placed. Base of the spine comfortably placed. Move up to the core. Core feels taut and secure. Feels kind of nice. Shoulder blades, heart space. My shoulder blades feel rounded forward a little bit. Open that. Feel some expansion across the chest, collarbones. There's that song popping in and out. It's like my brain's kind of running that song, and it's the guitar solo. So it's like it's a pull. My awareness wants to be pulled there. So I'm noticing the pull, then the bring it back to what I want. So I'm choosing to kind of, it's still there, but I'm choosing it to bring it back to what I want. So now I want to go throat space, get a swallow. Noticing air in the throat. Top of the head. Getting taller by a millimeter. So as I get taller by a millimeter, I kind of feel my tailbone sticking out a little bit. I felt my hips come up. So there's a tailbone sticking out, hips come up a little bit, knees raise a little bit. Feels okay. Drop the chin. A bit of pull in the back of the neck here if I lean forward. Even that out. Go to the front of the face. Play around with eyebrows a little bit. Cheeks. Face feels bigger today. Yesterday I remember my face feeling very squunched. Face just feels bigger. Here's the song. Just over and over and over. So a little smile on there. Smile feels very natural. tapping into where my breath is. It feels really big. It feels like my whole body, my whole upper torso is moving. How fascinating. There's a V color to it. It's like a V reddish purple color. It's like I can't pinpoint where the breath is. I can just tell the movement. It's so interesting. I've never it just feels big. Feels soft, big, full moving. Direction seems like it's directing everywhere. Depth, it feels like it's invisible. Like typically I have like a spot where I feel the breath. This feels like there's no spot. Let's max that out a couple times. There's this non-location. There's just no location to it. It's just I feel it, but I don't notice where. I mean, I notice where, but I don't notice the root. Kind of correlates to what I was talking about a minute ago. I'm grateful for Mr. K, kind of my spiritual advisor. He encouraged me to look more deeply at this kind of root. And when I was talking to him about it, he kind of helped me see that I've never really addressed the root, not with my modern awareness. I mean, I've addressed it lots of ways, but mostly with kind of inattention to things. I wasn't present. Most of the addressing of Edward's death came like for 20 years. It was mostly just kind of creating armor around it, and because I kept focusing on the offshoot of the root and not the root itself, I mostly worked on the offshoot. I never worked on the root. So I don't think I would have paid attention to that. So thank you, Mr. K. And So I'm going to send those little gold orbs to myself. You know, there's something locked away inside of me around that trauma that I'm just barely saying hello to. And I feel like there's 20 years worth of armor that I have to peel away to get down there, and I'm a little bit afraid to do it, probably because I don't know what I don't know, and so I'm just gonna focus on myself here for a second. Do 2 breaths here. Well, thank you for being my self-care. I don't know how much you're going to get out of this, but it's helping me a lot. So thanks. I'll see you tomorrow.